So today we are going to discuss a very important judgment of Delhi High Court in the case of Brand Equity Treaties Limited. And the judgment has actually given a good amount of relief to the persons who could not find their GST Tran 1 form by the due date. So friends, this judgment has come in this lockdown period and it is giving a good amount of relief. So now let's try to discuss the nitty-gritty of this judgment and what are the key takeaways of this judgment, how this judgment is going to impact the assessees who are not party to this judgment, who are out of the state of Delhi, and other miscellaneous issues. So friends, this judgment has been announced in the case of, there were 4 or 5 parties in the case in the particular judgment, because it was a combined judgment. The leading case is of the brand equities, and the issue in this judgment was related to filing of Tran 1 by the due date. So friends, as you all know, that form GST Tran 1 was prescribed by GST Act by section 140 subsection 1 and read with rule 117 of the CGST rules. So let me take you to the particular rule in this case, particular sections in this case. So this is section 140 subsection 1, which is talking about the prescription of GST Tran 1. And what it says, that a registered person other than a person opting to pay tax under section shall be entitled to take in his electronic credit ledger the amount of Senate credit, etc. immediately preceding the appointed day furnished by him under the existing law within such time and in such manner as may be prescribed. So you shall be surprised to note these words, within such time. So the words within such time has been introduced, as you can see, by the Finance Act 2020, that too with a retrospective effect of 1st of July 2017. This change has been notified via this notification number 43/2020, which has given a mandate that this section, this amendment shall be applicable with a retrospective effect. This has been notified. So the judgment in this case was passed without considering this amendment. Actually, this amendment took place by the Finance Act 2020. It has been notified on 16th of May. The act got passed. Therefore, this amendment was not considered while pronouncing this decision, and it was not argued by the councils also. So now we are going to discuss this judgment in 2 aspects. The first aspect is that if this amendment had not been carried out, the another aspect, this amendment has already taken place, and now the matter will go to the higher courts. So first discuss what is there in the judgment, the key issues in the judgment. So friends, the judgment was basically argued in a very good environment, and it was argued in such a manner that it will become a landmark judgment in the days to come in the similar cases. So the bench asked the petitioners, the learned counsels, to make elaborate submissions as we feel that an authoritative decision is necessary to put the controversies to rest. Thus, this decision exhaustively sets forth our reasons for allowing the petition. I mean, the bench is taking interest to rest the controversy. There were several facts, several cases, and let's try to go to the another key issue. The cumulative Senate credit is the property of the assessee and a constitutionally protected right under Article 300 capital A of the Constitution, which cannot be taken away by framing rules without there being any substantive provision in this regard under the Act. So this comment is basically given because there was no amendment in the Act at that point of time. Now, whether this will change if the amendment had been carried out with retrospective effect, my point is. Now, what will happen to this judgment, and what will the fate of the judgment when the amendment has been carried out with a retrospective effect? So, if there is a time limit given in a particular act, that is the plenary legislation, so the subordinate legislation can very well define that time limit because it has got power from the main act. Before this judgment, the plenary legislation was silent. So the arguments of the counsel of the petitioner were that how a subordinate legislation override the plenary legislation, how a subordinate legislation can give some time limits when the act is silent about it. And this point was very well appreciated by the bench. Therefore, they announced the decision in favor of the department, in favor of the assessee. So now let us see another point, that once on another notice that the time limit specified in Rule 117 is procedural in nature and not a mandatory provision, and thus period provided therein cannot be enforced so as to deprive the petitioner from availing their vested rights. In the support of the condition, there was a Supreme Court case in the case of SGC Contracts India versus case Chamankar Infrastructure Private Limited. The department in fact gave some arguments that I will not spend too much time on what department argued. Mr. Bansal, one of the counsel from the department side, said that the input tax credit is always it's not a right, it's a privilege. It's given by the department subject to some conditions. It can be vexed. The department can prescribe some of the condition to it, but the court said no. It is a vested property, it is a vested right, and it cannot be robbed. I will come later on into the very strong words used by the court that the department cannot rob of the rights of the petitioners. So the department actually framed certain rules, and the key rule is the 117 of the CGST rules. And the council argued that the rule has given a time limit of 90 days for filing Tran 1. So they said, why 90 days? Why it should not be 9 days or 91 days or 900 days, and about the time limit. So the court was very critical on it. Then they said that the time limit cannot be prescribed in the subordinate legislation. Another key discussions happened on the term technical difficulties. The department said that on account of technical difficulties, they extended this Form Tran 1 several times in the past. So the court said that technical difficulty cannot be limited when the technical difficulty comes to the department of the GSTN. The technical difficulty can come at the part of the assessee also. So the court appreciated that the technical difficulties cannot be one side affair. It has to give the weightage to both the sides. If there is a technical difficulty at the end of the assessee while filing from Tran 1, it has to be considered by the department, and they have to give suitable relief to the assessee. There were several cases referred, particularly in this case of Bluebird and one of the famous case of AP Pal Electricals, etc., were given weightage. So the court said that the benchmark in our view is that the online system brought into force the GSTN should be able to perform all functions and should have all flexibility options which are available in the pre-GST regime. So they were many times asked to make the system comfortable for the assessees. Several other decisions were referred. Now we are coming to a very strong point made by the court, that the system of the department, the extension of time limits many times in a particular time frame, it itself demonstrates that the respondent recognized the fact that the registered person were not able to upload Form Tran 1 due to glitches in the system. They cannot be made to suffer in this background, particularly when the system of the respondent were not efficient. From the documents placed in the record, it emanates that the respondent have no cogent ground to deny the benefit of notification number 49/2019 dated 9th of October 2019. That the court said we further add that the credit standing in favor of an assessee is property and the assessee could not be deprived of the said right by authority of law in terms of Article 300 capital A of the Constitution of India. There is no law brought into our notice which extinguishes the said right to the property of the assessee in the credit standing in the favor. So the court very categorically said that there is no law which extinguishes the said rights of the property of the assessee. And government could not curtail the accrued and the vested right and restrict it to 90 days by way of subordinate legislation. Now, very strong point that has been made by the court is that we are conscious of the circumstances that are prevailing. We feel that taxpayer cannot be robbed of their rights. Taxpayer cannot be robbed of their valuable rights on an unreasonable and unfounded basis of them not having filed Tran 1 within 90 days. When civil rights can be enforced within a period of 3 years from the date of commencement of the limitation under the Limitation Act 1963. So the finally court took the help of section 5 of the Limitation Act, which categorically says that when the civil rights have a time limit of 3 years, why not Tran 1 should be given a period of 3 years? The date should be extended to 30th of June 2020. So the strong word uses the taxpayer cannot be robbed of. Then department is robbing the rights of the taxpayers, valuable rights. And they said this 117 capital A, 117 rule 117 sub rule 1 capital A is a patchwork solution that does not recognize the entirety of the situation. It sneaks in an exception without addressing situation taken note of by us. This actually, the patchwork is not a permanent solution. The court said that the government should be fair and reasonable. It cannot be arbitrary or discriminatory. If it has to pass the muster of Article 14, the government cannot turn a blind eye as if there were no error on the GSTN portal. So the most strong words have been used in the judgment. Article 14, Article 300 capital A, etc. have been very categorically mentioned in the judgment. And the last, when we conclude this discussion, the court finally said that we are of the opinion that the taxpayers who are similarly situated should also be entitled to avail the benefit of this judgment. The respondent have been directed to publicize this judgment widely, including the way of publishing the same, so that others may not have been able to find Tran 1 are permitted to do so on 30th of June. So in the absence of any specific provisions under the Act, the court said we have to hold that in terms of the residuary provisions of the Limitation Act, the period of 3 years as given in the Limitation Act should be applied here also, and the date has to be extended to 30th of June 2020. So friends, this was the judgment of Honorable Delhi High Court in the case of Brand Equities Treaties. And friends, this judgment was very relevant, but after the amendment, there are some doubts that this judgment shall not be followed, or this judgment shall be challenged by the department in front of Supreme Court of India, and the Supreme Court has to take note of the fact that whether the retrospective amendment in section 140 subsection 1 is allowed or not, that too with a retrospective effect. So friend, these were our views on the judgment. I hope you find it usable. I hope you find it very useful. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a nice day. Thank you.